Okay, this will be a somewhat shorter video because basically if you did the previous video, exercise 3.4, and you're feeling good about it, we're applying all the same principles to this one, just with a different melody line. So instead of a little scale, we're going, oh, sorry, if it's not clear, this is exercise 3.5, very bottom of page 14. So the melody line goes like this. But we're inserting a G grace note roughly every other note. One thing to notice is that this exercise starts with a grace note, okay? You can play this exercise like this. Oh, sorry, my chanter reed cut out. You can play it like this, where the first sound you hear is a G grace note. If that's feeling a little tricky though, here is a piece of bagpipe knowledge. You are now an insider, so I can tell you this. We don't always write the first note of a song. Maybe that's not actually accurate, but you'll notice like the iconic sound of a bagpipe striking in or a bagpipe band getting started at the beginning of a parade, etc. is you hear the drones first. Well, first you hear the pipe major yelling, and then you hear the drones, and then you hear an E. So usually the drones is like, they're kind of out of tune and stuff. Then when people start playing the E, the drones snap into tune and it's like magic. You hear an E, and then the song starts. Then they go into the song, okay? So sometimes you might have a song that has that E written in, but sometimes the song just starts and it's just assumed that to get started on this song, you will play an E, unless you transition to the song from a different song, etc. But in simple terms, we can do that with these exercises. So if you see an exercise that starts with a grace note, and it's a little tricky for you to start with a grace note, just start on E. E is always your starting note, okay? So with exercise 3.5, we're going to start on E. We can hold E as long as we want until we feel ready to dive into that exercise, okay? This is like taking a deep breath before the plunge. Like that, okay? So we'll do it with an E, okay? I'm going to play an E, and then I'm just going to signal you when we dive in, okay? We're going to do this really slow with really open grace notes, and then we'll go back and we'll tighten up the grace notes a bit, okay? So just move with me, and we're just working on staying relaxed. Again, anytime you feel like a transition was a bit messy, slow it way down and do this thing where we go. Okay, just break it all down nice and slow, and then you can crank it up from there. So here we go. We'll do the whole line really slow and open, starting on an E, and I'll move us to the next note. Okay, let's stop and zoom in on that transition as we go into the last measure, from F to a G grace note to C. That's a tricky one. So let's just break that down all together here. So we're going to go F, G grace note finger comes up. What does that mean? It means your last remaining front finger on the top hand is going to come off. And then from this, G, it's a real G, the rare occasion where you're actually playing a real G for a G grace note, we go to C. So if it's helpful, just think of this as being a melody line that goes F, G, C. But then we make that G shorter and shorter and shorter. Remember, we want to avoid crossing sounds. There's a lot going on in the bottom hand here from A to C. These two fingers are coming up, and this pinky is going down. So we don't want to hear. We don't want to hear that. We want nice, clean. That wasn't nice and clean. My bad. We want to hear nice, clean. Okay, so let's go back and we'll do this line again with a slightly tighter G grace note throughout, starting on E. Okay, pause and go over it if that was a bit fast. We're going to do it one more time with a nice tight G grace note. Here we go. Starting on E. Great. One thing that you'll notice as you learn more and more grace notes and other embellishments is that if you try playing a song, either that doesn't have embellishments in it or that you haven't learned with embellishments yet, your fingers are going to start automatically inserting embellishments, and that's great. If you feel that start happening, like if you're going back, which you should, and going through these other exercises, and you're playing London bridges, and you find your fingers are ready to, they want to put a G grace note in places, go for it. Get that feel. So instead of playing, you might feel like, oh, now I want to do. That's a great idea. If you've printed the book out, maybe even write your own grace notes in. Just put them where you think they ought to go. If I remember right, there's nowhere that you could put a G grace note in London bridges that it would not work. I'm 99.9% sure. I'm just running through it in my head. Yeah. Put a G grace note wherever you want. That would be a really fun exercise. Maybe print a few copies of that page and put G grace notes in different places on each one. Go back and just play it with G grace notes and see how it feels. See, you'll start to get a feel like everybody has kind of their own style. If you look at different pipers, you can see like Fred Morrison uses different embellishments in different ways at different times in different places than Gordon Duncan. You know, and you'll get like your own kind of signature way of using embellishments, and it's a lot of fun to see that develop. So that's a fun exercise if you feel like doing it. I'd highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun for sure.